Hello and very warm welcome at Army Shackle 5858. I am Army Shackle. Following all the news which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African and Australian channels and AFP, AP, Reuters news agencies. Now please watch the news headlines.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. Dangerous rip currents threaten swimmers on both coasts as millions flock to the beach for the last moments of race against time to rescue survivors after a devastating earthquake, and the dramatic showdown between two former U.S. Open champs. First, danger on the West Coast on this holiday weekend. Much of Southern California is at high risk for rip currents. Lifeguards performing hundreds of rescues. In the East, similar warnings in 6 states. And at Newark Airport, some flights brought to a standstill because of staffing issues that are expected to last into the night. What it means for travelers, and our weather team timing out the forecast. The last-minute legal maneuvering. Hundreds of unaccompanied Guatemalan minors in U.S. custody, now in limbo. Dozens of children loaded onto planes. One jet even taking off before it was forced to turn back. Lawyers battling it out in a hastily convened federal court hearing. What happens now? Selena Wang from the White House. The chaos at the CDC and the growing confusion over health policy. Why former CDC directors are accusing HHS Secretary RFK Jr. of endangering the health of millions. Faith Abube from Atlanta. A child shot in the back in Houston after an apparent prank turns deadly. The urgent investigation now underway. The images of utter devastation just coming in from Afghanistan. Desperate survivors using their hands to dig through the rubble of a deadly earthquake. The leaders of China, India, and Russia hand in hand, their solidarity sending President Trump a message. Ian Panel reporting. Rudy Giuliani is badly hurt in a car crash in New Hampshire. Aaron Katursky with late reporting. The urgent investigation. An attendee is found dead at Nevada's Burning Man Festival. The dramatic showdown at the U.S. Open. Two former champs battle to advance. Tonight is the night, the Powerball jackpot surpassing $1 billion with the drawing just hours away. And America Strong tonight, the quick-thinking West Point cadet and why he's being hailed a hero.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with
Now I'm delighted to bring in Selena Zito, the Washington Examiner national political reporter, to join us in our coverage as we continue. When we talk about an emergency, Governor Pritzker said something kind of interesting. He said, does this look like an emergency? Ask the families buying ice cream on the Riverwalk if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator. So significant pushback there on the ground in Illinois. Meanwhile, we've seen two very violent weekends there on the streets of Chicago. Dozens of people shot, many killed as well. Bullets are quite literally flying. Your thoughts on the back and forth and the communication that we're seeing out of Illinois and on the ground in Chicago from the Democratic side?
So if you've ever been to Chicago, there's basically two sides of the city. There is the part where the tourists go, where you can walk around, where it's very, very safe. There's also the other parts, and a lot of that is predominantly minority neighborhoods, where crime is a really big problem. And you can talk to any parent who is afraid to let their kid walk from their house to their friend's house, to the local grocery store, to go to soccer practice, whatever. They're afraid for their children. For Pritzker to make that, sort of blanket statement, look at this pretty river walk, there's no problem here, is almost insulting. I'm not going to even say almost. It's very insulting for the parents that worry about their children every day and every night as they just go about doing very common routines.
Yeah. In David Spunk's report there was a small clip of Pritzker talking about how he would be willing to work with the federal government. And that often seems to be the challenge, that signal, is that Democratic cities want federal help, they want money, but they don't necessarily want to work with the president in the way that he is reaching out right now. And he's talked about how he wants to completely eliminate violent crime. And we've seen the success that he's had in D.C. and the mayor there changing her tune to a certain extent. Where do you see things going in the coming weeks?
Well, that's going to be the interesting part. You know, Muriel Bowser she wants her city to be safe. Does she want to work with President Trump? Probably not from the get-go. However, it has proven to be an effective measure and deterrent against the imagery of constant crime. You know, DC is the center of our government. It can be a very beautiful city. You want people to come to visit it, to go to the museums, to the institutions, to enjoy all the beautiful.
Afghanistan's deadly disaster this Monday night after a powerful earthquake. The entire village was destroyed. How survivors scrambled to safety and why international aid may not arrive quickly. The world's top scholars say Israel is committing genocide in Gaza.
There are 5 different ways that a genocide can be committed.
The evidence and Israel's response. Marking Labor Day in Canada, how the right for workers to strike is taking center stage. Plus, money and the Midway. The high price of having fun at Canada's largest annual fair. International with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Eric Sorensen. Good evening and thanks for joining us. A powerful magnitude 6 earthquake has rocked Afghanistan, killing at least 800 people. The quake reduced entire villages to rubble. Nearby hospitals are filling up. At least 2,500 people were injured. The Taliban government has requested aid from international organizations to help with the rescue efforts. The epicenter was just 27 kilometers from the city of Jalalabad, with tremors also felt in the capital of Kabul. Vincent McAviney has more on the devastation and the challenges facing those who need help.
Just before midnight, Afghans in the east of the country were awoken by a magnitude 6 earthquake. Its shallow depth, just 8 kilometers, intensifying the damage. Homes and buildings made of stone and clay were no match for the tremors. Those who escaped were forced to dig through the rubble by hand, searching for survivors. The earthquake started and shook us all violently, even breaking our house. From my own family, 5 nephews and 2 nieces were martyred, along with one of my aunts. I want the government to come and help us, to remove our injured and dead from the ground. Everything here has been destroyed. Landslides have blocked many roads in this already inaccessible mountain region. Emergency crews have had to use helicopters to evacuate dozens of victims for treatment. Hundreds are confirmed dead, thousands are thought to have been injured, and the Taliban government is warning the number of fatalities will likely rise. It's difficult to verify information from the region. This government spokesperson claims their teams have reached affected areas, but they're appealing for support from NGOs and the international community. A Toronto-based Afghan charity has already... Africa News. The news.
An accident involving 2 armored vehicles in Haiti's capital left at least 2 people dead and 8 police officers from Kenya injured, according to officials. 1 fatality and all the injured were part of the international security mission fighting gangs in the Caribbean country. The other fatality was a civilian, according to a statement from the mission's spokesman, Jack Ombaka. 3 of the injured were in serious condition and airlifted to the Dominican Republic for treatment, according to the authorities. The accident occurred Sunday evening in the outskirts of the capital, Port-au-Prince. The spokesman said the accident took place when one of the armored vehicles that was towing a disabled one broke down. It brought to 3 the number of Kenyan police officers killed in Haiti since the mission began more than a year ago. 1 was killed in a gang attack and another remains missing and is presumed dead. Congo has awarded French oil giant Total a permit to explore a block of its coast, the company said Monday. Total's Congo affiliate will operate the area with a 50% stake, while Qatar Energy will keep 35%. The rest will belong to Congo's state oil company, SNPC. The permit is for the Nzombo area, located 100 kilometers off Ponwa on the Atlantic Ocean. Nzombo's size is 1,000 square kilometers. According to Total, the drilling of the first exploration well is expected to happen before the end of 2025. The development is good news for Congo's ambition to scale up oil production to 300,000 barrels per day by 2027. At the moment, production averages 268,000 barrels per day.
Using insects to help population. This is the approach that some farmers in Benin have adopted. Deforestation and climate change have degraded African land and made it increasingly difficult for small-scale farmers to grow food. In southern Benin, agronomist Mal Obonyo is working with larvae from black soldier fly to produce organic fertilizer. Using fly larvae, cuts the soil's decomposition process from 6 months to just 12 days. The small larvae that want to feed and eat will start decomposing the soil. They will eat everything. Obonyo's company sells organic fertilizer to over 2,500 clients. The project has received support from the International for Agricultural Development. Low organic matter in soils are one of the reasons for low agricultural productivity and therefore poverty among farmers. In addition, the effects of climate change, such as prolonged droughts and erratic rainfall during agricultural seasons, agricultural and food systems for Sadaka this week.
Vladimir Putin has blamed the West for his country's war on Ukraine, and Europe in particular for what he said were provocations forcing Moscow to respond. The Russian leader made the remarks as he participated in a major summit in China, taking place in the northern port city Tianjin. Putin says the war was not triggered by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, but rather as a result of a coup in Ukraine, provoked and supported by the West. He also labeled the West's constant attempts to enlist Ukraine into NATO as the second biggest for the ongoing war, its fourth year. Earlier, Chinese President Xi Jinping criticized the bullying behavior of other countries and urged members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to resist what he called the Cold War mentality. He also referred to growth and size the need for even cooperation to trouble crises. The Shanghai Coordination Organization was established 24 years ago with an aim of challenging Western-led multilateral blocs. The group, which has 10 permanent members, 2 observers, and 14 dialogue partners spanning Asia, Europe, and Africa, accounts for nearly half the world's population and around a quarter of the global economy.
Police were called to the consulate in the suburb of Wulara at 8 a.m. after reports of an unauthorized vehicle. When officers approached, the driver suddenly accelerated with a Kluger, crashing through the main gates. 2 police officers had minor injuries in the incident and were treated by paramedics. No one else was hurt. The vehicle came to a stop on the consulate's lawn. A 39-year-old man has been arrested. Authorities have not released any information on a possible motive or potential charges. The Russian embassy has not yet responded to requests for comment.
Is away. On the News Hour tonight, an earthquake in eastern Afghanistan strikes a nation already in dire need of humanitarian aid, killing hundreds and injuring thousands more.
Roads have been blocked, landslides have occurred, and it is becoming extremely hard to reach those who need the support most.
A judge halts planes set to deport unaccompanied minors back to Guatemala. We speak with a lawyer representing some of the children. And how medical advancements have evolved to aid some children with a rare genetic disease.
Including Leonard and Norma Glorfine, and the Judy and Pete.
this Labor Day, the race to get back. Millions scrambling to head home before the work week start with extreme numb. Now, the new flooding in Texas. At least 2 people swept away in San Antonio. Out west, high heat, plus old issues creating new problems at hubs. The deadly earthquake in Afghanistan, hundreds killed. Inside, the desperate rush to rescue more in the mountains, remote and risky. Protests across the country this Labor Day, taking on the White House, all ahead of what could be a National Guard showdown in Chicago, as that city braces for a potential immigration crackdown. The warning from 9 former CDC directors saying the health secretary is putting lives at risk. COVID cases ticking up again, and what the president's now saying about the vaccine tonight. The dramatic rescue on camper. This child is onto the monorail tracks. Tonight, you'll hear from the man who rushed to pluck him to safety.
Like MacGyver-level skill set come from? I'll call it more of like dad strength.
The Army football standout who helped save a child from a car seconds before it burst into flames. Look at that. And School of Hard Knocks. After winning title after title in the NFL, can college coach. Daily News starts right now.
This is NBC 90 News.
Good evening, I'm Hallie Jackson. And we are coming on the... Labor Day comes to an end and record numbers of Americans start working their way back home.
Here early,
The Watch Out.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jerika Duncan. John Dickerson and Maurice Dubois are off tonight. We are down to the 3-week summer, and the final 3-day holiday weekend of the season is coming to an end. The lower cost of travel had Americans boarding planes in record numbers. It's been the busiest Labor Day weekend for air travel in 15 years, and now those travelers are heading home. Meg Oliver is at Newark Liberty Airport in New Jersey with more on that. Meg, good to see you.
Good evening, Jerika. Despite a record number of people traveling this holiday weekend, airlines are operating smoothly for the most part. Nationwide today, out of roughly 46,000 scheduled flights, just over 100 were canceled. People back to your...
This is DW News live from Berlin. Fears grow for Afghan villages devastated by a powerful earthquake. Rescuers try to reach people in remote mountainous areas, with many believed trapped under the rubble. Afghanistan's Taliban government is calling for international assistance. Also coming up, Chinese President Xi Jinping hosts a summit of countries billing themselves as alternatives in power. China's display of diplomatic leverage comes ahead of a massive military parade. And more protests in the president has deployed the military in the capital, Jakarta, and ordered an end to the unrest. I'm Pablo. Welcome to the program.
On CNA.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Hong Kong. I'm Bailey, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Rani Samtani. At this hour, more than 800 killed, thousands injured, and countless buried following a powerful earthquake in Afghanistan. The Taliban is appealing for aid as rescuers continue the search for survivors. U.S. President Donald Trump says India has offered to use tariff goods to zero. New Delhi has yet to confirm this. And Chinese President Xi Jinping meets Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin for talks in Beijing. It comes a day after both leaders hit out at the West during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
Thanks, Chuck. A good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10. So join me, Billy Anderson, Real World, every Friday at 7 p.m. only on TV News. The People's Channel, British News Channel. From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain. He can say whatever he wants. A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
The stories that matter from every part of our country. It's a bit of a crash landing there for your councillor. Bold, fearless, and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dormy, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister cuts the Chancellor out of his inner circle.
Rachel Reeves' right-hand man, Darren Jones, is snatched up by Number 10 as Sir Keir Starmer brings in economic experts to oversee the autumn budget.
So, as mistrust brews in the Cabinet, are the Chancellor's days now numbered?
Migrants granted asylum are barred from bringing family members to the UK as the Home Office gives reform a run for its money.
Until the new framework is introduced, refugees will be covered by the same family migration rules and conditions as everyone else.
Vladimir Putin is embraced by China's Xi Jinping and India's Narendra Modi as the world leaders meet in China. We're asking if their sudden closeness could cause problems for Europe.
After this photo went viral of married presenter Olivia Attwood and TV personality Pete Wicks looking rather cosy on a yacht, we're going to be debating this morning if heterosexual men and women can ever just be friends.
Our classics. Well, the one and only Liz Mitchell is here in the studio at 8:20, reflecting on 50 years in the business and Boney M's enduring legacy.
And in sport this morning, the transfer window shut last night. English clubs spent £2.9 billion on new players. Alexander Isak got his moves to Liverpool, but on deadline day, Mark Gahey did not. And in golf, Luke Donald has named his Ryder Cup team to take on the USA next month.
Some sunshine today, but also plenty more showers. Not quite as breezy as yesterday, and some more wet and windy weather to sweep across the country tomorrow. Join me later for a full forecast.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Part of our programs, we tell the stories of those who made our planet and those who are building it. We tell the story of them shaped by the lives of those who live there.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
Hello and a warm welcome. If you're just joining us, you're watching Daybreak on France 24. These are the headlines. A race against time for rescue workers in Afghanistan. They continue to search for survivors in the rubble after an earthquake killed more than 800 people. Some of the worst hit villages still inaccessible. It is a genocide. An international group of scholars say that Israel's bombing, shootings, killings in Gaza and the starvation of Palestinians due to the Israeli-made famine meets the legal definition of genocide. An announcement that comes as those bombs continue to kill, more than a dozen killed overnight. The military deployed in Indonesia's capital. 6 people have been killed there in violent protest. 20 people missing. Demonstrators are angry at the lavish perks enjoyed by the country's parliamentary members.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock on today's show. Downing Street attempting to take back control. The cabinet meeting this morning for the first time since that government reshuffle.
Also ahead, refugees will be stopped from bringing their families to the UK. We'll speak to the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, just after 7 o'clock.
Well, it's Tuesday, September 2nd. Kisama's Downing Street shake-up. The cabinet meets this morning amidst accusations that the Chancellor has been sidelined. Dear friend Vladimir Putin's praise for the Chinese president after the two meet in Tianjin. Our families are being kept waiting for months and months to move into their new homes because the government's new safety regulator won't sign them off. As children in England head back to school, teachers say they've been asked to provide food banks, laundrettes, and even resolve parking disputes. And in sport, Premier League clubs spend a record-shattering £3 billion during the summer transfer window. Very good morning to you. Sir Keir Starmer will chair his first cabinet meeting of the parliamentary term.
Today, the opposition and crossbenchers demand the government immediately release home care packages for older Australians. The ABC hears allegations of continuing bullying and violence in the Defence Force, 1 year on from the landmark Royal Commission. The Prime Minister speaks out after a neo-Nazi gate crashes the Victorian Premier's news conference. The world's leading group of genocide scholars declares that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. And Russia.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.